Welcome, everyone. We're just going to get going in a couple minutes here, so feel free to get yourself on mute and get yourself a cup of coffee. All right, good morning, everyone. As we're still waiting for some people to trickle in, we'll get this webinar started and can allow everyone an opportunity to join when is convenient for them. Good morning and welcome to this webinar on fostering a circular economy in food and beverage processing. I'm Jennifer Aldcroft. I'm a climate change specialist at the municipality of North Cowichan. And just to start off, I'd like to acknowledge and give thanks to all of the Indigenous nations upon whose territories we may be located for being caretakers of the land in which we work, play, and explore. I'm personally joining today from the ancestral territories of the Coast Salish people, and I would like to invite you to share in the chat what territories you're joining from today. Also, please feel free to use the chat function throughout the course of this webinar if you have any questions for either the administrators or the speakers as they present. Next slide. The Circular Economy Accelerator program is an initiative of the Vancouver Island Coast Economic Developers Association, or VICEDA, as well as the Synergy Foundation, with support from program partners. This webinar today is also a part of a series of 4 webinars on the Circular Economy Accelerator program, and I encourage you to go to viceda.com to view recordings from past webinars that were held on tourism, hospitality, and construction, and encourage your registration in our final showcase event on June 28th. We're very grateful to have the financial support from the organizations you see on the screen here: Island Coastal Economic Trust and a number of our partnering organizations: City of Nanaimo, Sunshine Coast Regional Economic Development Organization, Cowichan Valley Regional District, City of Port Alberni, City of Campbell River, Gabriola Chamber, and of course my organization, the Municipality of North Cowichan. The Accelerator program, next slide, provides hands-on support to 16 businesses on Vancouver Island, the Gulf Islands, and Sunshine Coast to adopt circular solutions in their operations. Synergy staff perform an on-site visit and produce a custom report for each of the participating businesses. On average, reports identified about 41 actions per business, which, if implemented, will have significant reductions: 21,000 kilograms of reduced waste, 41 tons of carbon dioxide, and 1,500 cubic meters of water. North Cowichan has been really excited to participate in this program, as it's been providing support to our local businesses seeking to implement more circular operations as we move forward with implementing our official community plan and also our climate action and energy plan. So with that introduction, I'm going to turn the mic back over to Georgia from the Synergy Foundation, who will take us through the rest of this event. Thanks, Georgia.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join today. I'm Georgia. I'm the Director of Program Operations at the Synergy Foundation, and we've had the pleasure of working collaboratively with VICEDA on this project. Really grateful to be here today to have the opportunity to speak about the circular economy and the Accelerator program as it relates to the food and beverage industry. I'm joining from the unceded traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, known today as the Esquimalt and Songhees nations. So this morning, we're going to do a brief circular economy overview, just so we're all starting with the same foundational knowledge and definitions. And we're going to do a bit of Accelerator business highlights from the businesses who are in the food and beverage processing industry, as well as a showcase from one of our participating businesses. We have Robin from Dog Mountain Brewing here to share a bit about their journey today. And then we'll explore other circular solutions and innovative businesses here on Vancouver Island. We have Marissa from Tree Island Yogurt joining today to share about their circular journey. And then we'll wrap up with some tangible next steps. So as we get started and just kind of familiarizing ourselves and establishing our definition, I always find it helpful to take a step back and look at our current economic model, which is linear traditionally. So what I mean by this is, we're extracting virgin resources from the earth, we're turning them into new goods, we're shipping them often around the world before purchasing them for consumption, often, single use or for a very short lifespan before we dispose of them when they're no longer of use to us. So right now, our world is 7.2% circular. So that means all other materials are either being wasted at end of life or being held in long-lasting stock like buildings. So lots of opportunities to enhance circularity. Which brings us to this circular model. And what we're looking here is in an equitable circular economy, resources and manufactured goods are designed to remain in the system. So this is done through innovation, reuse and repair, redistribution, reconditioning, and recycling processes, all of which are then ideally powered by renewable energy. So these innovations are really what's enabling affordable lifestyles, as well as empowering new ventures to create green jobs for the future. And what was unique through this accelerator program is we had the opportunity to work with these existing businesses to help identify opportunities for them to utilize these re-entry mechanisms within their own businesses to help them enhance the circularity of their operations. So when we worked with businesses, we were really focusing on material, energy, and water waste. And as you can see here, we're looking at how we can use these re-entry mechanisms to reduce that wastage, starting with the inner loops. So these green ones, as you can see, they have a smaller circle. And we're prioritizing those areas of circularity because they're the ones that are keeping goods and materials in use at their highest value. So starting with our reduce and reuse opportunities, then looking at redistribution. As we move our way out, those processes of reconditioning and recycling are more energy intensive and they require major changes to the goods. So we'll explore those options once all other re-entry mechanisms have been utilized. So through the Accelerator program, we worked with 16 businesses in total. Of those businesses, we worked with 5 that were in the food and beverage processing industry. So this included breweries, aquaculture, other food packers as well, and processors. So combined for the food and beverage processing industry, we identified 210 actions to enhance circularity amongst those 5 companies, with the opportunity to annually reduce water consumption by over 1,500 cubic meters, reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 145 tons, and reduce waste by 196 tons. So really exciting to see the opportunities here. A few examples of some of the circular solutions that were implemented at these businesses, and I say these are just a few samples because there is lots of actions that they have implemented, including innovations in packaging, efficiencies in shipping and distribution, and more. We also saw efficiencies in water and energy use. Innovative products from waste streams. So, businesses saying, okay, we worked with one brewery and they were using their spent grain to create new menu items in their restaurant, or using offcuts to create new products in their processing lines. We saw lots of great local waste to resource partnerships, and I know some of our guest speakers will touch on those today. Renewable energy systems within their operations. I thought I had one more bullet on there, but I didn't. But yeah, so lots of great opportunities that were implemented amongst the businesses participating in the program. And before we get on to our guest speakers, I did just want to do a quick poll. We've been doing these in all of our webinars to get a sense of what are some of the problematic waste streams across industries that we've worked with through this program. So we'll launch this here, and you can see we've got some options, quite a few options on the screen there, and you can select as many as apply to you. But just want to get a sense of really what are the challenging waste streams you find within the industry right now. Yeah, I see lots of single-use items and soft plastics. This has definitely been quite common across the industries that we've worked with so far. And if there's something that comes to mind that's not listed on here, please feel free to share that in the chat and we'll make sure to capture that. This will help us in some of our final reporting as well. I'll give this poll just another like 15 seconds if you can add any of your answers, and then we'll move on to the next one. Awesome. I think we can probably end that poll there, Maddie, and share the results with the group. So definitely seeing the soft plastics and single-use items coming through as some of those most problematic streams. And I know some of our guest speakers will be touching on those a little bit today as well. Great. And then I think we can stop sharing that one. And then the next poll I wanted to do briefly is just what do you feel is needed to reduce waste in the food and beverage processing industry? So we've got, education. Is it more around funding to support the transition? Is there essential infrastructure that's missing in your region right now? Or alternative products and services that you wish were available? And if you have any others, please feel free to share those in the chat as well. Yeah, lots of alternative products and services. And if you have some that are coming to mind, please share those in the chat as well. Education, infrastructure for both recycling and composting. Awesome. We can share the results for that poll now, Maddie. Great, thank you for taking the time to participate in the poll as well. Yeah, lots of alternative products and services needed to help facilitate the transition. So hopefully we can touch a bit more on that today as well. Wonderful. All right, with that, I would like to introduce Robin. She's one of the owners of Dog Mountain Brewing in Port Alberni. They were actually the first business to participate in the VICEDA Accelerator program. So they completed their circular opportunities assessment last fall in October. And so Robin's here to share a bit more about the work that they've done and their experience in the program. So with that, Robin, I'll pass over to you.
Thanks. Thanks for inviting me here. So yeah, I'm Robin from Dog Mountain Brewing. I'm one of the owners, our head brewer, and yeah, I pretty much wear all the hats around here. I do a lot of the work in all areas, and so I'm quite knowledgeable about, I guess, all of our processes and supplies and stuff. So after having the circular accelerator program, after we completed it, we were like very pleasantly surprised that some of the things that we thought were just, everyday normal things that we were doing were actually above industry standard. And so after the study was done and we got our results, we were told that we put in a little more effort and did these like 7 things, we could maybe be a waste-free brewery. So we do want to get rid of our like black garbage bin, just have recycling eventually. There are some hurdles that'll have to be overcome by our city, and I wouldn't say hurdles for them to overcome. There's just some more infrastructure that we would need before that's actually possible. So we're just kind of doing our best until then. So yeah, we plan to be a waste-free brewery. Okay, we can go next. Okay, so yeah, Dog Mountain Brewing is on Vancouver Island, and it's in Port Alberni. So I don't know how many of you have heard of the city. We're a pretty small city. We have about 20,000 people. It's really starting to grow. The gentrification is like unprecedented as far as we're concerned. And if you ask anybody in the city, we're very busy with building permits and things like that. So the development is happening here. And so that's kind of why we chose Port Alberni to open our brewery. It's just a beautiful spot, and we've traveled all over the world, and I don't think anything is as beautiful as where we live. So on the screen there, you'll see that's a photo I actually took from our clock tower down at the Harbor Quay. And the brewery is pretty much right behind the Welcome like 2 area. So we're pretty close to the water and it's just a beautiful spot. That's Andy, my dog, and I up there in the other photo. We're very dog centric here at Dog Mountain. And then just a picture of some uni tanks that we make our beer in. Okay. Oh, next. Yeah, okay, so in this presentation, I'm pretty much just going to go over like what we do, like our business, why we do it, how we plan to do in the future, and then epilogue. Well, that was just supposed to say conclusion. I don't know, that got messed up. So on this slide here, it just shows like Andy and I did a lot of the work ourselves at the brewery, and I feel like that is part of the renewable and reusable resources that we started with, because no labor is cheaper than our own labor. Okay, yeah, so here at Dog Mountain we make beer. There's 4 ingredients: water, malt, hops, and yeast. We're going to go over how we deal with all of those as waste products, because there's a lot of supply that goes into making beer, and we do everything we can to reduce our impact on the environment. We make food. We have a full kitchen here. We're just going to go through some of the things that we do to, again, reduce our impact on the environment, and what we've already been doing and kind of what we plan to do in the future. And then lastly, we are expanding our business. We bought another property next door to the brewery, and after having the study done, we were already kind of planning on some things, but we've got a little more information on how to use smarter materials and like equipment and things like that. Okay, next, here we go. All right, so for the brewery, there is waste. So our spent grain, that's like what's left over after you make, I guess, the sugary water that we're going to turn into beer. We've always had a local farmer that came to pick it up. We put it in pails and they come and pick up the grain. There's certain animals that can still eat it, that you can like utilize what's left over in it. We take most of the sugar out, but there's all kinds of other nutrition in there. Our farmer right now, he feeds it to his lambs. And then, he turns and those lambs get harvested, I'll say. And then, it's pretty circular. We don't use their products in our brewery quite yet. It's a bit more expensive than, it's like a premium product. It's a bit more expensive than what we do here, but we're going to do some partnerships in the future once we get our expansion finished, because we're going to have a bigger kitchen. Our hops and yeast, there are things that like go into some of the tanks that we don't want to just like wash down the drain. It's just really bad for the environment. So we use these filter bags that we put on like all of our drains. So we filter a lot of the like bioactive materials out, so we're not contributing to the fertilizer problem, if you will, like in the ocean. We're 3 blocks away from the water, so everything just flows downhill right there. And then that too helps with cleaning. We use less water if we're not just like flushing crap down the drain. And then also in the brewery, we use a lot of chemicals for cleaning. We use acids for sanitizing and caustic basic solutions for cleaning. And we have a system where we can recover a lot of that liquid after cleaning, and we just monitor it by checking the pH on them to make sure that we can reuse it several times. So I worked at a brewery before, and it was a very big brewery, and they just, every time they would sanitize a tank, it was like 300 liters of water, and they would just wash the chemicals and the water down the drain every single day. It was insane. I couldn't believe just the cost alone. So a lot of these things that we were doing initially were like kind of cost based. I was like, well, I don't want to waste that. And it just turns out, like it's also very good for the environment. We were using way less water, and I didn't really realize we were using that much less water, because some of our practices were just naturally kind of cost saving, I guess. Okay, next. Okay, one big thing that we utilize in our brewery, that the mantra in the brewery is, I'm very strict about this with my assistant brewer and with Andy, is water is not a broom. Again, it's this water savings thing. You don't just spray things down. When I see people like washing their driveways, it drives me insane. So we are very careful not to just like use the hose to spray things down drains. You know, you actually use a broom, don't just use water as a broom. So that's a very important thing here. Hey, and so moving on to the kitchen. So currently we have a compost kind of setting, like a thing set up. So all the kitchen, they take all the non-human touched, I guess it would be pre-cooked food items. And we put them in our little compost bin and we give them to the farmer. And so he'll either, if they're fresh enough still, like so in the winter, he'll use them for feed and he'll spread it out for his chickens. He doesn't have pigs right now, but we have other pig farmers that will come and pick up our cuttings. Or in the summer when it's a little bit too warm and stuff starts to spoil a bit quicker, he just spreads it out and adds it to his fields. Eventually, after our expansion is done, we want to like make our own little composting bin. We'll talk to the city and make sure that's allowed. You know, we don't want to attract rodents or anything because we are in a manufacturing business, so we really do need to make sure that's not going to impact our food safety and things like that. But I'd really, really like to do it on our own because we plan on having plants and stuff in the front yard, which is part of our expansion. It would be great to have our own compost. So yeah, I'm really hoping to get that done. And then in our kitchen, something we were already doing is no styrofoam or plastic. You know, those little paper cups and everything in the photo there. We use everything like that. Everything is fully compostable. We really try to, you know, again, have less impact. Unfortunately, all these things do come wrapped in plastic. And so in the future, we're hoping to, or not even for us, we're hoping that our suppliers will start, you know, maybe using like banding or something instead of the soft plastic. I think that's a whole push towards the entire industry, right? All the soft plastic and single-use plastic is needing to be reduced. So I'm hoping that if they start doing it, like it has to start there. Yeah, and everything like else in the kitchen, all our wraps and like tray liners and everything, it's all compostable. So right now we don't have like those kind of materials can't go to the farmer because animals clearly can't eat that. But we're hoping, you know, maybe one day we'll have composting for businesses because there isn't really anything that we can do right now with it. And then something just as simple as turning off all of our equipment when it's not being used. You know, there's busy times and slow times. We don't leave our ovens running. We don't leave things on like the grill, you know, they turn it all off. It kind of just started as like a noise thing, you know, the hoods are loud, so the cooks would turn them off. And then we kind of started seeing a pattern that, oh, we're saving on electricity. So we're going to continue to do things like that. And then in our new kitchen, everything is going to be like Energy Star or, you know, have in our hood, we'll have like a heated air makeup unit so that, you know, we're using less electricity or natural gas to heat our facility. So, okay. All right, and then what does it say there? My thing's covering me. Okay, yeah, so in the front of the house, and that's what FOH stands for. We started reusing our grain bags. So all of our grain shows up in these 25 kilogram bags of malt. And we go through a lot of them. Like we're a small brewery, but still for us, like I'm going through like 35 of these bags a week. And we used to just throw them out. You know, they're in the way, they're big, they're bulky. And then we were buying garbage bags for the servers to put in the garbage cans. And, you know, I've seen it around and we just never implemented it. But then one day I was just like, oh my God. So we started using these bags for garbage bags. It was a bit tough getting the servers on board at first, just because they, you know, they're kind of like dusty and, you know, they might get their like clothes kind of dirty and, you know, there's kind of little pieces of malt left in them sometimes, but I think it's pretty good now. We pretty much don't buy garbage bags at all for the front of the house. The kitchen, we still have to buy them bags because these bags will leak a little bit. So we don't really want them using them for anything they put into the garbage, like any post-consumer food. We can't give it to the farmers. So right now it is going into the black bin, but we're hoping that we can divert it in the future and we'll figure out, you know, like I said, if we can get some kind of composting system set up here, then we'll definitely look at the black garbage bag situation in the kitchen as well. And then after the study was done, we kind of, we were asked, well, what do you do with all the paper in the front of the house? And it never even occurred to me, like they were just throwing it in the garbage. we have a recycling bin. So we now have several of these recycling bins all around the brewery, and anything that can be recycled is, you know, all of our receipts, like the chips from the kitchen, all of the like little boxes that some of like the sodas come in, like they would recycle them, but, or I would if I was up there, but when they're busy and they're like needing to restock the cooler, you know, like they'll just like throw it in the garbage. They don't have to put it in the recycle bin. But now that we have bins available, it's a lot more like accessible for them, and it makes it a lot easier for them to make the right choice to do the recycling. And then also like on canning day and stuff, you know, there's always some cans that are a little bit like dented, or, you know, something weird happens when you're packaging. Again, when we first started, because we were so busy, we didn't have a lot of time in order to recycle these properly, but we now recycle them. There's a metal recycler here and they actually pay us for them. So we crush them, put them in a giant bin, and then bring them out to the metal recycler. And then he gives us money back, which is great, because in this industry, it's like a market of like percentages. 0.5% on something makes a big difference. So we're really trying to recover costs wherever we can. Yeah. Okay. So we can go on. Okay. So then like, why are we doing this? You know, like I said, we live in a really, really beautiful place, and Port Alberni happens to be in one of the 7 temperate rainforests in the world. It happens to be in the largest one in the world right now. And based on what the internet said, it said that there could be cedars that are thousands of years old. I don't imagine those ones are actually standing anymore. We do have a really nice like tourist attraction called Cathedral Grove. That's just like 8 minutes away from town. And it has like 700 and 800-year-old trees standing still. And it's quite amazing. And so we, you know, want to keep it that way. Everybody all over the world is lobbying to save the forests. And so if we can do just a little bit to help, then we will too. Okay. Okay, so then we grew, we're doing our things. And so like I said, we're expanding now. So we're really hoping with our expansion that we can continue to keep making these like good choices. And with the study, we went over some ways that we could do that. So we are planning on putting like in the front of the property that we're doing our expansion on, there's a kind of a giant front porch area. And we're going to put in a big like water tank to help so that we can recover some of the rainwater. So I'm really hoping that it will work. You know, it should. We're not sure if we're going to do like a giant tank or several smaller tanks. It'll kind of depend on what we can fit under there and how it'll work. And then we're going to use that for all of our plants, because we're building a kind of dog-friendly picnic area in the property next door. And it's going to be like a park-like setting. So there's going to need to be some maintenance on those plants done. And that's another job I do. And so, yeah, we're hoping at least we can save some of that water. For the build out, we're really going to try to use recycled materials, or like reuse like materials that are like secondhand or reused. And so far we've bought actually at the, what was it called? The reuse center in Nanaimo. There was some movies that were shooting in Vancouver, and they had all this kitchen equipment, and I don't know what they were planning on doing with it after, but it all went to the reuse center, and we went and got an entire kitchen from the reuse center for like $350. It's incredible. So us looking to like save money, because that's kind of how we run the business, just kind of lends itself naturally to buying reused things, you know. So we're really hoping that it works, because it wasn't tested. So we're hoping that at least when we get it all set up, it is the deal we thought it was, because it would be a shame, you know, because then at least it's metal, we'd be able to recycle it, but you know, it'd be really nice to use that. We feel really good about that. And then like on that same kind of note, we're going to hopefully using some recycled tiles. I'll go into that, I think, on the next slide. We have a partnership with Timber Tiles. Yeah, so we've already got some of this installed in our bathrooms upstairs. I was looking at doing maybe like wallpaper or something to give the bathrooms a bit more character. Not only did I not want to actually do the wallpaper, because again, I would be doing it. We thought of these guys. They're really good customers of ours, and I think they've completed the circular accelerator program as well. They do make all these tiles out of recovered hemlock. I think it's like fallen hemlock. And it's just beautiful. Their place is just down the road from us. They're in here all the time drinking beer and loving looking at their tiles in the bathroom. So we're hoping to do a little bit more of that. And then anything new that we put in, you know, like I said, energy efficient stuff, you know, we're really gonna try. Those things can be more expensive these days because of technology, but you know, in the long run, it should save money. Again, we're always trying to save. And then in the front yard too, we were gonna put down grass, but here in Port Alberni, it's the hottest place on the island. It's typically most of the summer is over 30 degrees Celsius during the day, and you can't keep grass alive, and it would be terrible to have to like water it, because just being a business, we can't have like dead old grass that we expect people to sit on. We've actually pivoted and we're going to put in a really nice turf. And so it is, you know, like a plastic material, but we're talking with our friend who owns a garden center, and we're hoping that there's some that is like made out of recycled material, at least the base. So we'll save water and you know, like resources, we won't have to cut it, you know, again, less, well, for us, less work, but less like electricity, less gas use, a lawnmower. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's it for there. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of our plan, how we want to be zero waste. So phase 1, right? We're kind of already recycling and reusing a lot of things that we can. As far as plastic goes, like, I don't know if you've ever bought like a 4-pack in a liquor store, they have those plastic can toppers on them. Our customers bring them back to us. We pick them up from accounts. We reuse them as much as we can. You know, they can be recycled, but again, as a business, we don't have plastic recycling here. We'd have to actually take it out to the dump and like go to the recycling and pay for it. But again, time and money, I'd rather just reuse it. I've been taking, so sometimes customers will bring us the toppers that are the wrong color. We do have, you know, a marketing theme we have to stick to. So I actually take them to my house and recycle them at my house, because I pay there and I'm at work a lot more than I'm at home. So I recycle a lot of stuff at home. And then, yeah, we're hoping, yeah, like I said, the composting one day, you know, it'll be good. But for now, we just use a lot of paper materials so that we can at least recycle it if we can. Phase 2, training our staff, like I said, making things accessible for them, making it easy for them to make the right choice. You know, when I see things in the garbage, you know, I take them out, put them in the recycling. They're busy, and you know, it's our business. I care way more than anybody ever could about my own business, and so yeah, we're just trying to make it easy for them. And I was just train the indifference away, but that's that thing, you know, we're really trying to get them on board so that they care as much as we do. You know, this is just where they work, and we can't expect a whole lot, but we're really hoping that we can help them and not be as indifferent. And then phase 3. So we are trying to, like, anytime anybody asks about the program or anything that we do, I am so ready to tell them like how they can do things better, and like what we do, and give them suggestions. And not everybody can do, you know, there's breweries that are different sizes and businesses that are a lot bigger or a lot smaller, and they have a lot of different problems than we do. So I really try to like share what we do. And then hopefully one day, you know, it's still like post-pandemic stuff. And right now, like, our highway is closed because it's a giant fire. And so, you know, on the city's, you know, like in their view right now, it's probably not really important to get these things handled, you know, getting composting for businesses or plastic. But, you know, eventually we're really hoping that we can start talking to them about that, or maybe, you know, there's a business that's somewhere else on the island or maybe on the mainland that is, you know, available, that can come out here and take care of some of our materials. Maybe we can start just with the support and showing that there's a need for it. Maybe, you know, they can open an office here and start doing something here. So we're really going to try to make a little bit of noise about it and try to get other businesses on board. Yeah. Okay, and then, all right. Okay, and that's it. So yeah, if you guys, you know, if you have any questions, if you're in the industry and you need a little more information, you know, totally feel free calling. That's the brewery phone number. Probably not the best way to reach me because I'm so busy, but you can send me an email there, just Robin from Dog Mountain. All of our information is up there as well, website. If you want to see photos of anything we've done, you can check it out, Instagram, Facebook. This isn't marketing. I'm just saying, like just to see kind of how we do things. And then all of this aside, we like work so hard and we, running the business with all of that, all this cost savings we've done, we still managed to make a great product. As below there, we've won a couple national awards for our beer and we're very proud. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robin. I really appreciate you coming and sharing more about your story and your circular journey today. And I really appreciate how you highlighted the relationship between, cost savings and environmental action.
Yeah.
They can really work together and as opposed to working against each other. So I appreciate that. And it's just great to see the way that you're incorporating circularity into all the aspects of your business. We only have time for maybe one quick question.
Okay.
If there's anybody in the group that has a question, if you could use the raise hand function or share that in the chat. And if nothing comes to mind right away, please feel free to continue to post those questions in the chat, and we have Robin's contact information as well.
Yeah.
We have some nice comments in the chat here too, just saying a great case study and inspiring to see. And Rhiannon's shared some other ideas on recycled turf as well. So maybe some more opportunities to explore there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, the clover lawn. Yeah, we've considered that. Again, it has to continue to look good. And if there's really high traffic, we're worried about that. But yeah, that is something that, because I am an avid gardener at home as well. So I know that is an alternative. We're looking to get rid of our lawn at home too. So yeah, and I know microplastics.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing the new space as well and seeing your continued journey on this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. I'm also excited to introduce our next speaker as well. So we have Marissa joining us. She's one of the co-founders of Tree Island Yogurt in Courtney. So Tree Island Yogurt is really on a mission to, both nourish their community by strengthening the local food system and promoting land stewardship. So Tree Island Yogurt has been on a journey of sustainability since inception. And Marissa's here to tell us a little bit more about that journey and some of the hurdles and lessons learned along the way. So Marissa, I'll pass over to you.
Hi, thanks so much. This is this is the second time I've got to share a little bit about this, about the circular economy. And we didn't actually start our business with the circularity in mind. I guess it's kind of a newer concept, but we definitely had health in the environment. So we are a family business. I started Tree Island Yogurt with my husband. He's a microbiologist by training. He actually has a PhD in forestry, studied the mountain pine beetle, but life's journey brought us to yogurt making. My background is in social sciences, and I did business and community economic development. So when we started, we wanted to have a business that had, positive impact in our local community and also focus on improving human health. So next slide. Today, I believe that everyone was already in the Accelerator program, and we've gone over the model that Georgia shared, and I just wanted to share something called the Project Drawdown, which is something that has inspired Scott and I, and it is a reference that we've used over the past couple of years as we've been, analyzing improvements that we can do in our business. So this is only kind of half the circle, I guess, and the earth being the other part of that. But I'm not sure if anyone in the group is familiar with it, but what I like about this model is it looks at all the different ways that we can reduce emissions. But what I found as a business owner, it helps us sort of categorize which areas of the business can have the biggest impact. And running a busy business, it's something like we realized that there's so many different projects that we could work on. We really needed to prioritize. So we haven't participated in the accelerator. I feel like I'm going to be a good candidate. We are have done a review to work on our like B Corp certification, which is something that has been a slow going process, because right now we're actually moving facilities. We're in the midst of completing a new 30,000 square foot facility, which we'll be moving to this summer. So we're like really in the thick of it, and including these concepts in planning our new workspace. Next slide. This slide again, if you go to the website, if you're not familiar with the resource, I like this because it even shows by size in a visual way which areas businesses and the world can look at reducing emissions. So that's all I'll say about it now, but there's lots of opportunity. Next slide. So we are a dairy, and that's something that you know, it's culturally, it's something that's been a primary part of my diet growing up, being, you know, having European family. And it's something that also gets, you know, a lot of attention in terms of thinking about the environmental sustainability of it and its contribution to greenhouse gases. So lots of people know Tree Island because we have a focus on sourcing milk from grass-fed cows. Our milk actually comes from cows raised on 700 acres of grassy pasture on Vancouver Island. The grass-fed has a positive impact in terms of the carbon cycle and the plants and grass being able to, you know, draw down the carbon dioxide that's in the atmosphere. And I refrained from doing a whole diagram and science lesson on this, but because I'm sure that lots of people are familiar, but you can take a look at it. There's the carbon cycle, and there's also the contribution of methane. And I think that right now we can all agree that, you know, like large industrial feedlots are an issue, and there's too many cows on the earth. And so what we do promote is working with small family farms, and, you know, eating high quality food and not low quality industrial beef, basically. The dairy cows do have like a longer lifespan. And so you do get a lot of food and transformation from the grass that the cows are eating. And I know there's so much to say about it. I try not to go into politics on cows, so I'm going to avoid that. But I did put down some benefits and challenges. So the benefits of grass-fed is the no tilling of the land, so not releasing carbon. The actual tilling of land really reduces, like puts a lot into the atmosphere. Reduced erosion and runoff from the grassy pasture. The cows also break up and fertilize soil during their planned grazing. So when they trample on it, you know, like it's spreading manure around, but also activating, like there's all the microorganisms that live in the soil that are doing their part of helping getting carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and transforming it into the grass. There's also less transportation of grain, less tractor time, and less labor and feeding. So that is why some farmers do choose this model. It is a kind of an alternative model of, and it also, it's not the be all end all, but it is possible. Some farmers choose this as an economic model because it has that financial benefit. Some challenges is that not all farms have the space to actually implement a pasturing system. And I would say that's probably the biggest challenge. Some farmers might like to do that, but they don't have enough land. So there's a whole business case around that. Grass-fed cows can produce less milk per cow. However, North American cows are actually bred. They do produce a lot of milk, a lot more than like a cow from India, which are bred for different climate conditions and different purposes. so there's so much on this topic. I could probably do a whole presentation, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background on the grass-fed cows and why we choose that for our business. And methane being like a byproduct of the cows burping and farting. Methane does go into the atmosphere, has like a shorter lifespan than the carbon, but it does have like a bigger impact in terms of being more potent. So right now there's a lot of science going on around diet and supplements to reduce methane, and some interesting things about, so lots of science around some supplements that can be added to cows' diets, like seaweeds and citrus, and also looking at what type of roughage and what causes methane and all that sort of stuff. There's a whole bunch of things, and there's a lot of different universities that have a lot of different research, different positions. So anyway, so that's a little bit about us. Next slide. So we're not farmers. We work with small family farms, but we are a production facility. So we're in control of the pasteurization of the milk, the flavoring and fermenting, and selling to market. So a big part with the drawdown is the energy use. So on the drawdown, you could have seen like agriculture is like a key way to reduce emissions, as well as the electricity and production. So this is the area that we're focused on. So this is actually our first pasteurizer. It's 500 liters, and we've since grown. We now have 1,000-liter pasteurizer, and at the new facility, we'll have 3,000 liters. So we do multiple batches per day, and so we're able to improve our system over the years as we're growing. We're looking at the source of energy, like we do use electricity to power the equipment, but there's also like hot water is a key part. So our production process has a lot of heating and cooling. So we're taking milk that needs to be between 0 and 4 degrees to be, that's kept cold, and then we have to bring it up to pasteurization temperature, which is actually a lot of energy. So we do that with hot water. So that metal that there actually has hot water circulating through it, which brings the milk up to the pasteurization temperature. We're able to recirculate that hot water out of the jacket into additional vessels where we're keeping the water hot, and then we can recirculate that water for the second batch and the third batch each day. So that's what we do at our current facility. At our new facility, we're actually putting in additional equipment so that we will be able to reuse the hot water for our cleaning at the end of the day, and also reduce the differential in the heating and cooling. So one thing you don't see there is that there's some heat exchangers. There's a piece of equipment that is stepping the temperature, because from going like from 0 to 39 degrees. Pardon me? Oh, I just heard a ghost in the machine.
I think somebody maybe took their off mute by accident. I think you're good to keep going.
Okay, cool. Sorry, it was a ghost in the machine. Okay, anyway, so yeah, just being mindful of time, I'm going to keep going on, but this is an area that we are monitoring our water usage, and then also considering, our cleaning, using the energy and the hot water for the cleaning as well. And like Robin said, that like it really is, it's a benefit, because the less energy we use, the less cost we have. So it's a benefit for the business. It is a large investment in terms of the infrastructure. So that's another exciting journey as a business owner, but is quite interesting. So I wanted to talk about packaging. the agriculture and the energy of the production are really are huge areas for circularity, but the packaging is something that I had no idea when I was making yogurt that I was also going to be really in the packaging business. So it's one of our key suppliers. So we started out with a small container on the left when we were at farmers markets, and it was just a really small volume, but as our business started to grow and I started really looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh. So when we had to order our first shipping container of packaging, it actually wasn't of those big hefty packages. It was actually of the solution. It really felt like a really big responsibility. I think it was an aha moment for me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm responsible for all of this going into the world. I was always thinking about the cows and the healthy yogurt, but there was also this packaging component. So it's something we spent a lot of research on. We did decide against glass for several reasons, mostly the weight of the transport, the breakage, the volume needed, and the lack of recycling. So it just really didn't make sense. But we were able to source a cup that does use 50% less plastic. And if you've had our yogurt, you're probably familiar with it. It is multi-material, so the paper does need to be removed from the plastic to be recycled. But it is an innovation in the industry, and we did actually win an award for that. So it's something that we're really proud of. Next slide. In addition to the single unit, though, to move goods around, the things need to be put into cases, and cases need to be put onto pallets. So this is a thing that, okay, I'm going to talk fast. So this is something that I wanted to share. Like all businesses, anyone in manufacturing is going to have this issue. The key point about this is that this slide and the next slide is just that this is really like this current grocery system is set up as linear. So in order for us to have a more circular system, there are some solutions, but it is complicated and it's not something that can be solved by one business. So there is limited space at the back of grocers to have milk crates. That's one of the reasons why they don't do that right now. But I think if we had a lot of people that got together in the industry, that could be a potential solution. Next slide. Next, oh, thanks. So this is there is a lot of plastic wrap that goes around cases. We have come up with a solution working with pallet wraps for this reusable wrap to go around it, which reduces the amount of plastic, which is fantastic. It is something that does require employee behavior change, leadership, and problem solving. It wasn't easy to get people to want to use this, and this has been it's like a huge potential win, but also probably the thing that needs the most employee buy-in. And so we have conditions where we can use these and conditions where we can't. So it hasn't solved all our problems, but it is something that we've tried out. Next slide. Transportation is another big area. So we're moving yogurt around. Our goal is to ensure that the trucks are always full and we manage our routes to reduce the fuel. And we're also going on island and off island. So we have started a backhaul business where we're bringing goods back to the island. That's not yogurt, but something that's safe to put in the truck. And so if anyone needs backhauling, you can call us. It's sort of a tertiary business now. Next slide. This is something that I think a lot of people are going to have a problem with is the pallets. They just accumulate and some of them are repairable, which we do. We always try and give everything a second life, but this is something that it's hard to move around in any volume because you need trucks. And I think there's an opportunity for an island pallet recovery or some sort of way for us to look at moving pallets around so that they can be reused better. We reuse all ours, but there's wood scrap that you have to deal with. But I think that there's a system. Like I have some really good pallets I know someone else could use that I can't use. And so communication and collaboration would be wonderful. We do have a lot of buckets. So like our honey comes in buckets or our fruit comes in buckets. And at our new facility, we're moving to a drum system, which will reduce the amount of buckets. But I'm actually known as a bucket lady locally because I'm always selling buckets and barrels. And I have recently been working with my kids for coming up with a value added idea for the buckets, which is bokashi compost, coming soon. If you want, I'm because seriously, there's I have a lot of it, and I've been able to sell to a tomato grower locally who grows tomatoes, like hundreds in a greenhouse and stuff. So that's been another solution. Next slide. Reducing food waste is a big thing for us. We want to always ensure that the yogurt gets eaten. It is only 6 weeks of shelf life. So if we see something that's coming due to date, if we do a lot of inventory planning and production planning, but if for some reason there's a flavor that was miscalculated or things didn't go as planned, we do give to the local food bank. We give in Victoria, as well as Nanaimo, Cowichan, and Comox Valley. We do have yogurt that we get from our yogurt line, like our lines and hoses. We're always trying to reduce what, like a flavor mix over, like a flavor changeover. We could go from lemon to strawberry, but we have jungle punch in the middle. So we would put those into buckets, and we do work with small local, small scale food farmers with the pigs, and we do, those are really our sausages. We get bacon and sausages and stuff, which we redistribute to our staff, which is a really nice bonus. And at our new facility, we actually did, we do have a lot of land and it's subdivided. So we are starting a new project at bevanbc.com. You can check it out. I think there's a huge opportunity for something like what Refeed is doing in the Fraser Valley. So for building soil and compost, we are going to be selling gravel and stuff like that from our new site, but we're working on this soil business as well. So if anyone's interested in that, what we found out when working with some of the local contractors is that there's this MMCB soil, I guess, is sort of like certain level that soil needs to be like the components of the soil need to have, and we don't actually have a lot of that locally in the Comox Valley. So we actually are importing some soil from different places and trucking it around. It seems bizarre, but it is an opportunity for a soil business, which we're working on. So if anyone's interested in partnering, please give me a call. We have a site and we're working on it. And for us, I have the little circular, that's our circular process down at the bottom there. I really see it as like sort of an evolving thing. We didn't just design our business as circular. So it's like we're always going over our systems and processes and looking at what we can do. But my advice would be to be systematic and design out waste. I feel like design is like a huge thing, and going to building a new facility is really helping us look at some of those things from the beginning and ensuring that we've designed it, because some things are hard to go back and change if it hasn't been thought of at the first place. Measuring and communicating with the team, I find that when I calculated how much yogurt we were giving to pig farmers, I was like, we need pork back. We need to have more of a partnership with these farmers. And the buy-in from staff is really quite good, because people can see what the impact is. And I think planning to regenerate and thinking of natural systems, that's really come into us for what we're doing, and we're looking for partners and win-win. Like, I really believe that there's a lot of resources and stuff, but that change requires collaboration, because the systems that we're dealing with, the world is sort of linear, and for the most part that's been the way we've been functioning for a really long time. So in order to have this circular thing, there are systems that I think need to change. It's really difficult to just change as like one person or one business, but there are some things that we really need to collaborate on, which I think is the opportunity here today in terms of looking at the island and looking at the different businesses in the Accelerator program. as well as the different regional districts, is like we're on an island. We're not going to, like, you know, take our waste off the island. So we really need lots of really good solutions here, and looking at systems that can benefit everyone. And I really have been inspired. Okay, so inspired by reusables and the reusable, you know, cups and stuff. So I feel like there's lots more that we could do. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Marissa. I just know we're at 11 o'clock, and I do want to just be respectful of everybody's time on the call today. So if you do have any questions for Marissa, if you could share those via email, feel free to reach out to us at Project Zero, and we can connect those with Marissa as well. I'm not going to jump into other circular solutions because Marissa did such a good job of covering some of the other items that I wanted to highlight today as well when it comes to packaging, backhauling, refrigeration, and water opportunities as well. So thank you so much. As we wrap up today, I do just want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your days to join us to talk about the circular economy in the food and beverage processing industry. There will be a recording of this available on the VICEDA website. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at Synergy Foundation, and we can help you address those. And then we'll be hosting the final webinar, our kind of pilot series showcase, as well as you know, how local government can support the transition to a circular economy on June 28th. So if you haven't registered for that yet, you can do so through the VICEDA website, and I hope to see you all there. So thank you all again so much for taking the time today, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.